Welcome back to the Coins Numismatic Series, where small coins lead to big discoveries. Today, we're diving into a seemingly simple but historically rich piece, the 1980 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. This little Denver-made coin might look like a typical cent, but trust me, once we unravel its background, its design elements, its market value, its errors, and collector appeal, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Let's begin this journey into a coin from the dawn of a new decade, one that collectors continue to search for, study, and appreciate. The 1980 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark represents a fascinating snapshot of American history and minting technology during a transitional period. By 1980, the Lincoln cent had already been in production for 71 years, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. It also marked the final years of the traditional copper alloy cents before the dramatic shift to zinc core pennies in 1982. So every pre-1982 cent, including the 1980 D, is part of the last era of true copper pennies, composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. To understand the significance of this coin, we need to go back to the origins of the Lincoln cent. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this was a monumental shift in U.S. coin design. For the first time, a real person rather than a symbolic figure appeared on circulating coinage. The designer, Victor David Brenner, created a portrait of Lincoln that captured dignity, strength, and humanity. His design became iconic almost instantly and remains one of the longest-lasting and most recognized coin images today. In 1980, that same Brenner portrait still appeared on the obverse of the penny. The inscriptions surrounding Lincoln include, "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" to his left, and the date, 1980, to the right. Just beneath the date is the D mint mark, which indicates that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint has long been known for its high-volume production, supplying billions of coins annually for circulation across the country. In fine condition, the details of Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat lapel are moderately worn, yet still visible. Light flattening on the cheekbone, jawline, and hair curls marks the coin's time in circulation. On the reverse of the coin is the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo and introduced in 1959 for the sesquicentennial of Lincoln's birth. This design replaced the wheat ears reverse, symbolizing a more modern tribute to Lincoln. The memorial design includes not only the building itself, with detailed columns and steps, but also a tiny engraved statue of Lincoln inside, located between the central columns. Even in fine condition, the statue may still be seen under magnification or in good lighting. Above the memorial is the inscription, "United States of America," and just beneath that, "E pluribus unum." At the bottom sits the denomination, 1 cent, in bold lettering. In a fine-grade 1980 D penny, the steps and inner architectural details may appear softened from wear, but the major design elements remain clear. Historically, the year 1980 is an important moment in the timeline of U.S. coinage because it occurs just before a major shift in composition. Copper prices were rising throughout the 1970s and early 1980s, causing the intrinsic metal value of pennies to creep dangerously close to, or even above, their face value. This created economic pressure on the U.S. Mint to change the composition. The copper-based pennies of 1980 represent the twilight years of a long tradition, and collectors today place special value on these pre-1982 cents for their metal content and historical importance. As for mintage, the 1980 D Lincoln cent saw extremely high production numbers. The Denver Mint struck well over 4 billion of these coins, making the 1980 D, one of the most common cents of the era. High mintage means the coin is not rare by default, especially in circulated grades such as fine condition. This abundance does not diminish its historical significance, but it does mean the market value of a typical 1980 D penny in fine condition remains low, generally just a few cents. However, certain examples, particularly those with rare errors or in exceptionally high grades, can attract collector interest and elevated prices. Let's move into the world of errors and varieties, a realm where ordinary pennies sometimes become valuable surprises. While the 1980 D penny does not have a famously dramatic double die variety like the 1972 or 1969 S. It does have its share of minor errors worth noting. Collectors keep an eye out for off-center strikes, where the design is shifted noticeably to one side. Depending on the degree of the shift and whether the date is still present, such coins can fetch higher prices. Likewise, broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its usual diameter due to improper collar pressure, can be collectible. Another interesting set of varieties are die cracks and die chips. These occur when the die used to strike the coin begins to break down from repeated use. Cracks can appear as raised lines across the coin, while chips may look like small blobs of metal filling in parts of the design. A common area for die chips in Lincoln cents is around the lettering, particularly in Liberty or in the date. Some collectors even pursue specific whimsical varieties such as the B error, named for the appearance of what looks like the letter I between the B and E in Liberty, caused by a die crack point. One of the more desirable minor varieties for 1980 D cents includes repunched mint marks. Before the 1990s, mint marks were still manually punched onto dies, meaning slight doubling or shadow images of the D can appear in some strikes. These repunched mint marks, often abbreviated RPMs, are collected by variety enthusiasts and sometimes bring premiums. While the typical fine-condition 1980 D penny may not have dramatic value, an error coin, a repunched mint mark, or a sharply struck example can elevate its desirability significantly. This is where the coin becomes part of a treasure hunt. Collectors love searching through rolls or old jars for special finds that stand out from the billions of normal coins. Let's talk about grade for a moment. In fine condition, your 1980 D penny has moderate wear but retains full outlines of all major features. Lincoln's cheek and jaw will show noticeable smoothing, but his silhouette and general profile remain clear. The reverse will show flattening on the memorial steps and some softening of column detail. Fine-grade coins are common, but they still hold significant historical value. They represent honest circulation, having passed through countless hands, pockets, and transactions. Every scratch and worn detail reflects its journey through decades of American life. Collectors value fine-condition pennies for various reasons. Some build circulated sets, appreciating the rustic charm of well-traveled coins. Others use fine-grade coins as comparison tools when learning about grading. And some simply enjoy the feel of an older copper penny, heavier, richer in color, and more substantial than modern zinc equivalents. Now let's step back into the world of historical context. The year 1980 was a time of significant change in the United States. Inflation was high, energy costs were rising, and the economy was strained. Yet the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins at staggering rates to meet demand. The Denver Mint, known for its strong production capabilities, was central to this effort. Because of this high output volume, the 1980 D penny became one of the most widely circulated coins of the early 1980s. Yet the penny also remained an iconic symbol of American culture. Collectors across generations remember the Lincoln Memorial reverse, which was used from 1959 until 2008. For many people, seeing that design brings back memories of childhood, school lunches, ballpark concession stands, and pocket money. The Lincoln Memorial penny is deeply nostalgic, and the 1980 D sits right in the middle of that era point. One of the reasons copper pennies like this one are so often saved is because of their metal content. At times, the raw copper value of a pre-1982 cent has been worth more than 1 cent. Although melting cents is illegal in the United States, this intrinsic value has driven collectors and everyday savers to stash away copper pennies, contributing to their growing interest. Even a fine-condition 1980 D penny benefits from this appeal. People simply like copper cents more than zinc cents. Collectors also note that the 1980 D cent marks the beginning of a shift in mint quality and design sharpness. As we moved into the 1980s, the Mint experimented with various adjustments in preparation for the upcoming composition change. Subtle shifts in strike quality, die longevity, and production speed all contributed to minor variances among coins of this era. For variety hunters, the 1980 D is a year filled with discovery. What makes the 1980 D penny interesting enough for collectors to want to study it? It's the layers of significance. It's the last stretch of copper coinage. It's part of one of the most beloved series in U.S. coin history. It's a high mintage coin with many possible varieties and errors. And it's a piece of American culture that nearly everyone alive today has handled without ever thinking about its story. Even though a fine condition example may not hold significant monetary value, its place in the bigger narrative gives it meaning. Numismatics is not just about rarity or price. It's about history, art, metallurgy, and the connection we feel to the past through everyday objects. A 1980 D penny in fine condition has lived a life. It has circulated through the economy, survived nearly half a century, retained its copper warmth, and now rests as a collectible with a story to tell. The coin speaks to the endurance of Brenner's design, the craftsmanship of early mint engravers, and the lasting legacy of Abraham Lincoln. The next time you sift through your change and find one of these copper beauties, take a moment to appreciate its journey, its heritage, and its quiet significance. It may not be rare, but it is undeniably meaningful. Thank you for joining me on today's deep dive. Be sure to subscribe to the Coins Numismatic Series as we continue exploring the hidden treasures tucked inside everyday currency, one fascinating coin at a time.